In 2022, Gautam Adani's net worth was growing so fast that for a brief moment he bypassed the markers for Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates to become the third richest person on the planet. He reached that peak after 2 brushes with death that define his public image. In 1998, he was kidnapped at gunpoint for a multi-million-dollar ransom, yet he reportedly remained so composed he spent the night playing cards with his captors. 10 years later, he was trapped in the Taj Mahal Palace Hotel during the 26/11 terror attacks, waiting out a siege while black smoke billowed from the roof. Despite these cinematic survival stories, Adani remains an unassuming, grounded figure, an infrastructure kingpin holding vast power over a nation's physical assets. This 16-year-old high school dropout managed to capture and control the ports, power plants, and airports that form the literal foundation of modern India. Adani's path began in Ahmedabad, but he was restless in a traditional classroom. At 16, he boarded a train to Mumbai with just 200 rupees and a desire to build something separate from his family's textile business. He arrived in a massive, overwhelming city, far removed from the safety of his middle-class upbringing. He found work behind a glass partition, sorting diamonds for hours a day. It was an education in high-speed global trade. He learned to make split-second decisions and operate within the razor-thin margins of the diamond district, where hesitating meant losing the deal. Thriving in that environment built an unusual psychological tolerance for risk. He learned how to manage uncertainty at a micro-scale before he ever owned a single asset. When he returned to Gujarat to manage a plastics factory, he applied those trading instincts to industrial materials. He began importing PVC to deliberately undercut the prices of legacy companies that had dominated the market for decades. His first breakthrough came in 1985. Rajiv Gandhi's government introduced a new Exim policy, opening the door for aggressive global trading houses, just as Adani was ready to scale. 6 years later, a second shift occurred. Manmohan Singh initiated the 1991 economic liberalization, deregulating the economy and creating a vacuum that only a few private enterprises were prepared to fill. His final major pivot involved a strategic alignment with the Gujarat state government, providing a political and economic runway that allowed his business to expand at an unprecedented rate. Adani's expansion moved in lockstep with the state's legislative pen. By positioning his capital and infrastructure to occupy industries the moment they were deregulated, he successfully converted national policy shifts into private corporate growth. Despite his success in trading, Adani realized that moving goods was vulnerable to market crashes. He needed tangible, physical assets to anchor his anchoring. He proposed building a massive commercial port on the barren marshlands of Mundra. Bankers were skeptical, asking how they could possibly finance land that was currently sitting under the sea. He proved them wrong. Today, Mundra is the largest commercial port in the country, a logistics engine handling millions of tons of cargo every year. The port began his strategy of vertical integration. Ships dock at his port, unload coal, and feed his power plants to Bight cities. By securing every link, from mine to transmission wires, Adani built a closed ecosystem that boxes out competitors, guaranteeing profit. This strategy hinges on a single realization. True control lies in owning the physical choke points where global trade meets the domestic economy. That control now extends to aviation and green energy. Adani acquired a monopoly on major Indian airports and is building a solar park in the desert, 5 times the size of Paris. But this scale triggered global scrutiny. Hindenburg Research alleged severe stock manipulation, causing a market rout, and protesters labeling Adani the scam king. Internationally, the pushback intensified. In Australia, massive crowds gathered to protest his coal mining operations, citing the risk to the environment. His renewable energy projects are also under fire, with European activists accusing him of greenwashing his fossil fuel core while building a pipeline to extinction. The risks have evolved. Survival now means battling international short sellers and global environmental movements, a far more complex stage than the diamond district where he began. At 62, Gautam Adani's focus is shifting. He is no longer just an aggressive acquirer. He is the guardian of a $200 billion empire. He has announced a 10-year succession plan to hand control to the next generation of his family, ensuring his legacy remains intact. That legacy remains a point of deep public debate. To some, he is the visionary architect of a self-reliant nation. To others, he is the ultimate beneficiary of a system with significant regulatory blind spots. Yet, it's impossible to separate the man from India's growth. His infrastructure is the literal foundation upon which the country's modern economy is built. Gautam Adani's story is the story of modern India, ambitious, controversial, and increasingly powerful on the world stage.